Hello. I would just like to share a few reflections that I've got that I'm holding on what I have found doing a very reflective practice this morning. So, sorry, I'm just going to move that bit. I'm having a regeneration day today, which I try to do twice a month. It's been a practice that I've been experimenting with all year, essentially working a 9-day fortnight as a way of opening up space for restoration, reflection, rejuvenation. I try to do some sort of joyful things like going for a run without a pacemaker on, just purely stretching my legs and kind of having the joy of just being in motion with no specific outcome. And quite often I just go for a walk. And I found this to be a really, really beneficial practice this year. Lots of really interesting ideas are forthcoming during this time. And it's also just a nice sort of down regulation from the sheer amount of stuff that I can't say no to, or I struggle to say no to. And a couple of friends of mine have mentioned this practice that they've done over the last sort of probably 4 or 5 months now, which is downloading an app and then going for a walk. It's about 4.5 kilometer walk. Sort of listening to this journey through time, right? So it's basically sort of dual narrated, sort of someone who takes the archetype of a scientist and someone who takes the archetype of a truth teller. And the journey begins at the beginning of this planet. And then every meter that you step along the walk reflects 1 million years, I think, if I got that right. And it's a 4.5 kilometer stroll. You don't have to walk particularly quickly. And then you get back to the present day. And the two things that I'm reflecting on the most are how long it's taken us to get here and everything that has occurred in order for us to be here, and what our role is. So these two things. And these haven't just emerged, from this one experience. These are a couple of things I've kind of been holding, I think, for a little while. But, just on the first one, I don't know how long you walk on an average day, but this is kind of an average duration, average distance of walk for me. But having all of this sort of reflective, interesting dialogue, there's this really playful interaction between these two narrators, feels like it's been a really long journey listening to this deep time experience. And really sort of tuning in to all of the really long evolutionary intervals where, by our standards, not terribly much has happened. Like millions and millions and millions of years of ice ages where everything was, of course, frozen and sort of in stasis. Hundreds of millions of years when it was really just molecules and chemical compositions sort of bonding and forming and morphing. And this real rapid escalation of evolution, such as this thing, and me, and of course you, really like happens in a really sort of tight time frame at the end. So I think it's made me reflect on and aware of and conscious of just how long things have been occurring to bring us to this point in time, which then brings us to our role, right? And I'm not going to get into any sort of specific domain here around problems or opportunities or any of that stuff that I've explored in other conversations. But just really reflecting on all of this time and energy to bring us as a species into as far as we know, somewhat unique position. of consciousness and awareness and of being sentient or sentient in our particular way. What is our role then? And the role that I believe is ours is one of custodianship. I've been holding this idea for a while, and it's not mine. Not something that I've created. So we've got next door neighbour's little one, sort of crying out in the background here. But custodianship, at least to my current understanding of it, is really around nurturing and sort of holding in a light, gentle, sort of tendering way something that you're sort of present within for a period of time, but that you're aware that others have been present in it in order to bring it to the state it's in as you're present in it, and that part of what you're responsible for is the condition with which it's sort of transitioned to those that will come next. It's this sort of intergenerational, evolutionary role and responsibility. And potentially, this is a junction that we're at, evolutionarily, societally, culturally, and potentially, sort of from an intelligence and consciousness perspective, sort of coming into awareness that this is our role. So all of that aside, if you want to go for a stroll and maybe have your own experience with what this deep time walk can do for you, there's the website, deeptimewalk.org. In the comments, would really love to hear what experiences you have with this and what reflections you have. This is going up on my Facebook, so hi, sort of mainly the friendship network there. Would love to hear, maybe go for a walk with your kids and do this, with a speaker. I had earbuds in. Go on my YouTube channel, so there's some professional connections there as well. Love to hear what your thoughts are on this. Now, I chose to go for a novel walk. I went to an area that I know reasonably well, but a pathway that I do not. So I don't know whether that influenced my experience or not. I did part bush, part beach. So I kind of had ocean and sort of, primarily plant life as my backdrops. Don't know if that, sort of influenced the experience. I'm going to do this again, not now, but I'm going to do this again at some point and see what the experience brings. So I might well reflect on that and link it here, for a kind of a comparable lens. But anyway, sharing a little bit of myself, bit of my experience, bit of time with Tim, with you today. So yeah, I'd love to hear what you think about this. Take it easy. Take care.